A very good morning, students. We are back with our regular class lecture, and the subject is mining geology. And this is part 4 video of underground mining. And so far, what we had seen is what is underground mining and what circumstance we are going for underground mining, and the types like rat hole mining, room and pillar method, long wall mining, sub-level stoping, shrinkage stoping, sub-level caving, block caving, cut and fill method. So in this video, I'll try to cover the last three methods, that is drift and fill, retreat mining and blast mining. So let us see what is drift and fill. So in the topic called parts of underground mining, we have already discussed about the term drift, which is a tunnel that is driven on a ore body, right? So the drift term implies it is a tunnel that is driven on a ore body itself, right? And fill indicates that is we are backfilling it after driving the tunnel. So this is the main term, and that is the basic principle of this method also, right? So here what they are saying is drift and fill is an underground mining method similar to cut and fill, designed for extracting ore body that are wider than can be efficiently mined by a single drift. So there is a fixed size for length, breadth and height for a tunnel, right? So if the geometry crosses in any way, any ratio, there will be safety hazard. So if the ore body is quite wider, we cannot drive a single drive all along the ore body. So they are making some segments like 1, 2, 3 like that they are doing. So what they are doing here is, in this method a horizontal drift is excavated through the ore, and once the drift is mined, it is backfilled with the waste material to provide ground support. So they are making a segments, and each segment they are making a tunnel or drift. They are removing the ore body and they are backfilling it with the waste material, and the adjacent drift are then excavated and backfilled in sequence. So they are making a tunnel, they are removing the ore body and they are refilling it back. So like this they are making continuous horizontal slices of the ore body and backfilling it. So this is what a general idea about the drift and fill method. Let us see the pros and cons of this method. The very first advantage in this method is that as we are fixing the length, breadth, height of the tunnel or drift here, we have a very good range of selectivity, and here the recovery is also very high. Okay, the second advantage is that it enhances ground stability and safety. So we are refilling it once again, so this ensures the safety and stability of the ground. The third advantage is that it is adaptable to wide or irregular ore body. So when the ore body is very wide, you cannot go for cut and fill method, right? So in that case we can go for drift and fill method. Then the next one is reduce surface subsidence. So when you are refilling it back with a waste material, the probability of surface subsidence is reduced. And the last point of the advantage of this method is it enables reuse of waste as a backfill. So when you are going for mining, whether it is a open cast mining or underground mining, there is a very big problem with the overburden or the country rock breaking, right? So we have to dump it somewhere on the surface. So to match that, what they are doing is they are using that waste as a refill. So that is also reduced here in this type of drift and fill method. So these are the advantages. Let us see the disadvantages. The very first one is it is high operating and backfilling cost. So as the size of the ore body is itself big and we are making continuous tunnels and we are going to backfill it again, so this makes a high operational cost. The next disadvantage is it is slower in production rate. So as you know, you have to remove the ore body and you have to refill it. This makes one complete cycle. So this increases the lag time of the ore to reach the surface and we have to backfill it, right? So this is the reason why it is having a slow production rate. The third one is that labor and equipment intensive. So the size of the mine decides the intensity of labor as well as the machine required, right? So this is once again a bigger mining method where we have a long wide continuous ore body. So this actually includes this type of disadvantage. Then the next one is whenever we are dealing with refilling or backfilling, there is always a complexity of logistics for backfill. So this is also one of the disadvantage. And the last one is that this is not optimal for all ore geometry. So when the ore is a wider one, we can go for this method, and if the geometry changes, we have to change the method of mining. Okay, so this is what the generalized outline about the drift and fill method. The next one is retreat mining method. So the term implies that it is coming back. So from where? So when you have started the heading like a room and pillar method, we will be starting the mining from the entrance of the ore to the end of the ore body, right? So after completing the last end, we will be having pillars which is made up of ore or economic mineral, right? So when you are coming back, that is retreating, you can also remove the support, that is the ore body that is used as a pillar, so that we can make our profitability very high. So this is a phase of room and pillar method where you are removing the pillar which is itself over body while retreating the mine action. So while progressing, you are keeping the ore body as a pillar. While retrieving back, you can remove the ore body so the mine can collapse at a controlled manner, right? So this is a generalized idea about the retreat mining. Let us see the pros and cons. The very first advantage is that it actually maximizes the recovery, resource recovery. So in the room and pillar method, we mentioned that the recovery rate is in the range of say 40 to 60. If you go for retreat mining, you can go up to 100% mining, right? So by this way, you can improve the recovery rate. Then it actually increases the profitability. When the mineral resource available that is recovered is high, it automatically raises the profit. Okay. The third thing is it utilizes the existing mine development. So you don't need to do any sort of advancement or development in the mine. Once the mining work is over, you can just, while retrieving, you can also remove the material. So it doesn't need any sort of extra development of the mines. So these are the advantages of this method. The disadvantages listed here are, it is first and foremost thing is high risk of roof fall and mine collapse. So when you are removing the support, there is a very big danger of roof collapse. That is the first disadvantage. The next one is it requires complex and costly roof control measures. So as you are removing the main support, you have to use some sort of support at least at the time of removing the pillars, right? So that requires complex as well as costly control. The next one is potential equipment damage and operational delay. So this sort of retreat mining is obviously very dangerous, as I mentioned in the roof fall. That could lead to property damage as well as loss of life at some time. So that is the disadvantage here, main disadvantage here. And this can also cause surface subsidence, as you are leaving it for controlled collapse that could lead to the subsidence on the surface. So these are the disadvantages of this method. So this is what a generalized idea about the retreat mining. And the last heading for this video lecture series is the blast mining method, where a blast mine is an underground mining method that uses controlled explosives to fracture and break rocks, allowing for an extraction of minerals bearing materials such as coal, ore or stone. So this process involves drilling holes into the rock, loading them with explosives, detonating the charges and then removing the broken material for further processing. Blast mining is a fundamental foundational technique in both underground as well as surface mining and is often referred as drill and blast in modern terminology. So this is the very old or very easiest method in mining, as you can see here, where you have only making drills, making fixing explosives there and making it to blast and just removing the ore body. That's all. You can do this in surface as well as in subsurface. So what we are doing here is you are just making a drill on our body. According to the size, shape, orientation of the ore body, you can arrange the design or pattern of the drills. Then we have to fix the explosives there and we have to make it blast. After that, what happened? The ore body will be broken down and falling. So you have to remove it for further processing. So this is the generalized principle or idea behind the blast mining. Let us see the advantages as well as disadvantages of this method. The very first advantage is that it is versatile and adaptable to many conditions. So whatever the ore body's condition, whatever the orientation of the ore body, whatever the strength of the ore body, we can go for this type of mining. Okay. The next one is low initial investment. You use only the blast radar. So as you are going to use only the explosives and drilling tools for breaking, it may not need much intensive initial investment. Okay. and it requires high productivity with proper planning. So it will be giving you high productivity with proper planning. So according to the shape, size, orientation of the ore body, you have to give a design of the blast sites, right, or drill sites, which could give you a high production rate. And this is flexible blast pattern design. So there is no any fixed blasting pattern like this one like that. So you can design according to your use as well as according to the geometry of the ore body. And lastly, it is reduce surface disturbance. As you are breaking the rock underground with blast, this will not harm much to the surface. If you are blasting on the surface, that will be giving so much of trouble or environmental impact. This will be somewhat reduced in underground mining method. Okay. And the disadvantages in this method is it has a safety risk from explosives and misfires. So when you are doing for explosion, there has to be very precise control over that. If it is not properly handled, there could be a misfire which could also leads to property as well as life loss. Okay. Then the next disadvantage is that the ground vibration and overbreaking and structural damage. So whenever you are making a blast underground, there will be always a ground vibration, and also according to the effect of the blast, there will be overbreaking of the country rock. Not only that, due to this ground vibration, there could be some sort of structural damage on the surface. So this is a disadvantage in this method. Then the potential for ore dilution if not well controlled. So if the design and pattern is not properly controlled, what happens? The blast will also break the country rock, that leads to the dilution of the ore, right? That is the third disadvantage. Then there is environmental and regulatory challenges. When you are going for a blast in underground, there are so many restrictions that we have to follow. So that will be a very big challenge to work. And the last disadvantage is that can be slower than mechanized method for long tunnels. So if you are planning for a long tunnels, if you are going for machine, that will be quite faster when compared to blast mining method. Is that clear? So this is the generalized idea about the blast mining method. And so far I have covered all the headings in underground mining. If you have any doubt, mention in the comment section. We will try to explain in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.